for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. If I can have the reading of the mission statement, please.
Richmond Community Schools guides students on pathways of learning to a future of limitless possibilities. Well done.
Thank you. And the reading of the vision statement.
Richmond Community Schools, a collaborative community nurturing mind, body, and spirit to prepare students for lives of choice, purpose, and service. You sound like Austin Brand. I do.
Thank you. First on the agenda, celebrations. Dr. Wright.
President Brunton, trustees, I'm going to ask that. Actually, she is yet to arrive.
No, she's here. She's hiding.
Oh, is she now? Good for her. I'm going to ask that Mrs. Bridget Hazelbaker, our director of student.
Oh, I'm
sorry.
Crystal.
Oh, yes. I'm actually going to ask that Mrs. Crystal Cooper, our Indiana State School Principal of District 6, comes to the podium with our Assistant Superintendent of Secondary Education, Mr. Dan Pritchett. If the two of them could simply share, because we all had a great opportunity to be in amongst one another in the other's presence. But Mr. Pritchett, if you don't mind sharing with us the award and the honor that we are bestowed and bestowing upon Mrs. Crystal Cooper.
Well, Ms. Cooper represents District 6, which the state of Indiana, the Indiana Association of School Principals, is divided up into 12, I believe, districts across the state. And so Ms. Cooper represented District 6 as the middle school principal of the year. So you want to share a little bit about what that entails? That's a process.
Being a principal, number one.
But it's a process, I know.
It is a process. There was a lot of stuff to fill out and recommendations to receive after I had been nominated. And then it's a process you have to go through to win. So I'm very thankful for the recommendations that I did receive from people here. So thank you. But it's an honor. And we did a evening at the JW before Thanksgiving, I want to say. My family got to go, my kids, and it was just fun. Because as parents, myself, we get to celebrate our kids all the time. We get to go to their awards and games, and it was fun for my kids, and it was nice for my kids to see their mom being celebrated. So that was cool. But it was just being a good principal for Dennis. And I was nominated by the people at Dennis. So I'm thankful to them. And Dennis would not be what it is at all without the staff at Dennis. I cannot say enough about my team at Dennis and the teachers at Dennis, because they've really done the hard work. I may be rowing the boat, but they're behind me with all of the paddles in the same direction. So I couldn't have done this without them, 100%. So I'm very proud.
This group we spoke while at the celebration late last fall, about your impact there within the Dennis community, the school community as a whole. We all are well aware, especially those that have been around for several years, and for those that have been around even longer, we understand some of the challenges that have come from our Dennis Middle School. However, where things were to where things are, and as is known, a building will take on the persona of its principal. And Dennis Middle School is a great embodiment of what it is that you exercise and exhibit on a daily basis. And as we know, and I know we wear it around our necks, but you exemplify humility, self-service, and resiliency. So, Mr. Prickett.
Yeah, no, but the picture taker just arrived.
Yes. And this is really my little captain. And actually, if you don't mind joining us. And again, on behalf of our school board, we definitely appreciate you. And yeah, we'll take photo.
Yeah, it's like.
Dr. Wright. Yes, you did. Somebody, please, Cindy.
Next time we do something like this, we have this in the background. It's more me. They're being offered if our logos in the background.
Can we give her a round of applause?
That's my second.
Next is public commentary. Cindy, do you have anyone signed up for Bridget? Thank you. Next on the agenda, the oath of office. Dr. Wright. Cindy. We have two board members that will be, I'll be swearing you in as the notary. And that is Mr. Austin Brand and Ms. Nicole Stoltz. So if you both would stand. And so their terms will be from January the 1st, 2025 through December 31st, 2027. And I'll just say like little excerpts and then do it at the same time. All right. I affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America,
The Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution of the State of Indiana,
the Constitution of the State of Indiana,
and the laws of the United States
and the laws of the United States
and the state of Indiana.
and the state of Indiana.
I will faithfully
I will faithfully
execute the duties of my office
execute the duties of my office
as a member
as a member
of this governing body.
of this governing body.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you, and I will have the appropriate thanks for you to sign after me. Okay, next we will have the reorganization of the Board of School Trustees, the election of officers. And I guess before we discuss the election of officers, I just want to say that I'm proud to have served as the school board president and proud of what we've accomplished this past year. Having successfully completed my term, I've chosen not to be considered for another presidential term or for an executive position at this time. I've enjoyed working with Dr. Wright and his dedicated cabinet while in this role, and I look forward to continuing to advocate for RCS students and teachers in my role as a board trustee. First, I'll ask for a nomination for the office of president.
Madam President, I would nominate Member Kim Pickering for the position of president.
I'll second.
I have a motion by member Stevens, a second by member Aloriaga. I'm now, okay, I'm going to ask for a motion to close the nominations. Do I do that before we vote? Help me out.
Are there any, you normally ask, are there any other nominations?
Okay, are there any other nominations?
Any discussion?
Okay. Discussions?
Having made the motion for Ms. Pickering, I would also like to just add my thoughts on appreciation and gratitude for the current officers of the board who have served for these last couple of years and have done, in my opinion, just a wonderful job with leading us, guiding us, and the communication. And so, and to you, Kristen, I want to thank you for your leadership as president, level head, open heart, open mind, and willingness to communicate with us. So thank you. But I would move that the nominations be closed on this one at this time.
Okay, thank you.
I would also just say, yes, thank you to Kristen. I don't know that everyone knows this, especially not the public, but Kristen was nominated for the ISBA Outstanding Board Member of the Year this year. And that is one of the highest nominations that you can get. The ISBA, for those who don't know, is the Indiana School Board Association. And so I just would like to read just a little excerpt from the nomination that talks a little bit about some of her qualifications. So, Mrs. Brunton has exemplified the concept of going beyond the call of duty as she is committed every year to visit and volunteer at each of the schools in our district. During these visits, she can be seen doing a variety of duties such as reading aloud to students, helping during lunch by washing the tables or pushing the trash cans around, organizing the staff teacher lounge, and helping students with math problems or English assignments. Sometimes she would volunteer every week, other times it was every other week. Regardless, it was quite impressive the amount of time she has dedicated to being in and amongst the students and teachers for whom she was making decisions. As a former educator, Mrs. Brunton recognizes the need for teachers to be appreciated and encouraged. As such, she has organized the Richmond High School Parent Group, which provides teacher appreciation treats, notes, and meals throughout the year for our high school educators. Mrs. Brunton's attributes of sincerity, kindness, self-sacrifice, and perseverance have long served our community, and Richmond is fortunate to have Mrs. Brunton as a citizen and serving in the role of school board member in this year as president. So, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for those kind words. Okay, I need a second motion to close the nominations. First was with member Stevens. Okay, call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Vote passes 7. I think you abstained. So 6-0. Okay, 6-0. Good. At this time, I will pass the gavel on to our new president to continue the meeting and finish out the elections.
Thank you. And yes, I second definitely Ms. Olson. I think all of us agree. We really appreciate your leadership and we know how hard it is and how much extra you put into this information. So
Thank you.
okay, moving on to vice president. Are there any nominations for office of the vice president?
I'd like to nominate Austin Brand.
One second that.
That was Jordan Terry made the nomination. Member Stoltz made a nomination for member Brand and Mr. Loriaga seconded. Are there any other nominations for vice president?
I move nominations. We close on this one name.
And I second that.
Any questions or comments? Okay. All those in favor of member Brand as vice president, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Okay, vote passes 6-0. Moving on to office of secretary. Are there any nominations for secretary?
I make the motion for Nicole Stoltz.
Second.
The motion by member Britton and a second by member Stevens. Are there any other nominations for secretary? Okay. Need a motion to close nominations.
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor of board member Stoltz for the office of secretary, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Vote passes 6-0. Moving on to item 5.02, appointments. I believe that gets you, Dr. Ray.
President Pickering and trustees, I come before you with the recommendation that Mrs. Melissa Swafford, our Director of Finance, be appointed school treasurer for Richmond Community Schools for the period of January 1st, 2025 through December 31st of 2025. I also recommend that Mrs. Karen Scout be appointed deputy treasurer for Richmond Community Schools for the period of January 1st, 2025 through December 31st of 2025. In addition, and finally, I ask that the Board of Trustees appoint the following people as representatives for Richmond Community Schools authorized to open and tabulate bids. Myself, Dr. Curtis Wright, Superintendent, Ms. Melissa Swafford, Director of Finance, Mr. Alex Hazelbaker, Director of Technology, Ms. Karen Scout, Assistant Superintendent of Operations, Mr. Brad Walton, Director of Facilities. In a true final, I ask that Ron Paulson, Boston Beaver Force, Carlson Signet be appointed school attorney for Richmond Community Schools for the period of January 1st, 2025 through December 31st of 2025, and approve the contract as presented. And I believe I also recommend that the Board of School Trustees appoint representatives from our school board in the following manner. The Redevelopment Commission will be appointed by Ms. Nicole Stoltz, Legislative Liaison, Mr. Michael Eloriaga, and the ISBA Delegate, Mr. Aaron Stevens. As presented.
Can I get a motion to approve, item 5.02 appointments?
Madam President, I move to approve the appointments as presented. That would be item 502 on our agenda.
There's a second.
Second.
All those in favor, say by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Vote passes 7-0. Next item on the agenda, 5.03, approval of all existing policies and guidelines. And I believe is this something that comes from us or right?
Madam President, as this is customary procedure at the first meeting of the year, I would move to approve
Thank you.
our existing policy and guidelines as they stand now.
I'll second that.
And all those in favor, say by saying aye.
Aye.
Vote passes 7-0.
And just for public comment, it's something we do regularly the first meeting of every year. It's just so that we approve and keep enforced the policies and guidelines that we have. But as we'll see later on in the meeting, we will continue to review and accept and move forward policies as they come along.
Moving on to consent items. Up first is consent item 6.01, human resources. That does include the addenda. Can I get a motion to approve the consent items as presented?
A point of clarity, if I may ask, because I know that they knew change of guard in our presidency. I know in past practice, the consent items have been bundled. That's an option, I believe. President Pickering can choose to explore if she chose it not. Just for a point of clarity. Sorry.
Nope, that's perfect.
I move we approve all the consent items, 6.01, 6.02, and 6.03.
Let's get
Would be the same thing. Okay.
I'll second.
All those in favor, say by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Vote passes 7-0. Moving to action items, 7.01. All right.
President Pickering, trustees, I come before you this evening for approval, seeking approval of action item 7.01, the update to non-certified salary schedule as presented.
Can I get a motion to approve the 7.01 update to non-certified salary schedule?
So moved.
Second.
Are there questions or comments? I believe I do have one. I just wanted to make sure. Sorry, I'm just opening this.
Number 5.
I am blind. I have saved it. So I believe this is a permanent change to the salary schedule for the specialty maintenance?
Yes, the recommendation is to adjust the salary schedule for the 24-25 school season.
I just wanted to make sure I was clear on that.
Mhm.
Any other questions or comments? Okay. All those in favor, say by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Vote passes 7-0. Moving to items 8.01 through 8.05, policy review update. Starting with policy 8.01. Well, item 8.01, which is policy compensation, which is second reading and approval. Can I get a motion for on the second reading of policy 0144.1?
Madam President, I move to approve item 8.01, policy 0144.1, compensation. I move to approve it on second reading.
I'll second that.
When we approve, does this finalize it or are we moving it? Okay. Just, all those in favor, say by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Vote passes 7-0. Next up, 8.02, which is policy 4112, board staff communications, second reading and approval. Can I get a motion?
Move to approve 8.02 policy 4112 board staff communication.
I'll second that.
Was moved to approve by member Weber, second by member Stoltz. All those in favor, say by saying aye.
Aye.
I didn't ask a question. All those opposed, nay.
Into a cadence.
Passes 7-0. Moving to 8.03, which is policy 3211, required reports for protection of whistleblowers, which was third reading and approval. And I believe this is also, oh, they're separated out. Okay.
I move that we approve policy 3211, which is item number 8.03.
Second.
Okay. Moved to approve by Stoll, second by. Okay. Questions or comments? All those in favor, say by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Passes 7-0. Next on the list is policy 4211, required reports and protections of whistleblowers, second reading and approval. This is the support staff, the exact same policy of 3211.
I move that we approve policy 4211. It's item 8.04.
Second.
So motion approved by member Stoll, second by member Stevens. Questions or comments? All those in favor, say by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Passes 7-0. Item 8.05, which is policy 5136, personal communication devices, third reading.
Madam President, I move to approve item 8.05, policy 5136, personal communication devices, well, the third reading.
My stack is so big.
Very tough.
Can I get a second?
Second, yes.
Just to clarify, this is third reading and just
Clarified. Third reading.
questions or comments?
I just want to point out, all of our policies are always working documents. You know, we're finalizing, but at any time, if we need to tweak, if we need to pivot, then just so the public knows, we have to do that. So, yeah.
And deviate from or waive application of the policy in a
Yeah.
particular instance if the board deems that appropriate.
Yeah. So,
And I will comment on this one, we've talked about it a lot. I do think it was good, it actually led us to look at the code of conduct, and then there's some language there, so I just think it's always helpful to kind of keep digging to make sure we're doing what we should be doing, so. Perfect. Okay, so all those in favor, say by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. There's 7 to 0. Okay. Sorry, who seconded that? Thank you. Up next, highlights and discussion.
I have a few things. First of all, I would like to just applaud the recycling program that we've been doing. I saw that we have had an uptick, so much so that we need to have a second pickup. Is that right, Mrs. Scow? So I just want to say thank you for those endeavors, because that's something that I know that we've said we want to see this, and so we're seeing it. So yay, good work. So, secondly, I just want to say a few words in honor of Mr. Ralph Burkhart, who passed away. He was a beloved teacher here for numerous years, 47 actually. He taught music at RCS for 47 years. My husband was one of his students and loved him dearly. He also was RCS Outstanding Educator in 1987, which is saying a lot. He was beloved, so I just wanted to highlight his passing and just our gratitude for what he did. Yeah.
Thank you, Nicole, for bringing that up, because I first met Mr. Burkhart in 1972 as my music teacher at Dennis, where I continued to play the trumpet. Then I switched to French horn, and we remained friends since that time. I had the last opportunity to spend some time with him just about a month and a half before his passing. And he was still very sharp, loved his music, and was still dedicated and always concerned about music and music history, not only in Richmond Community Schools, but throughout the city of Richmond. So, as we get older, we lose the loved ones and the mentors that we had. And he was definitely not just one of my mentors, but a mentor to thousands and thousands of music students over the last 48 years. So thank you for bringing that up.
Couple more things real quick. So one of the things that I know a few of us have talked about in regards to our insurance and what that covers and what it doesn't cover, and we're all figuring that out right now as we have beginning of the year and all of that. We have wondered about maybe having gym memberships for dependents. So at this point, from what I understand, it's currently just for the for instance, for my husband and I, we would have gym memberships. And it's that time of year where people are back in the gym, right? And so I thought I would just love to see that extended to students, so that, say we could even put an age cap on it, age 16 and above or whatever. I would just love to encourage our students to develop healthy habits through exercise in the gym, so just would like to see what the thoughts are of the board in regards to that. Are we wanting to, is that something that we're interested in? And is
I
it
don't think
also
the board historically has had any input on the insurance. I think that's probably best. It's the insurance committee. We pay the bill, but I don't know, Ron. I
I'm
don't
not
want to
sure.
overstep our lane.
You're the plan sponsor. So I think your lane has been unnecessarily restricted sometimes in the past. But as the plan sponsor,
We can ask for things.
you are a liaison with the trustees. The trustees actually control the program.
Mhm.
And so I think this is an appropriate issue to present to those trustees.
Okay.
And if there's a consensus, I'm not sure, do I understand that you would want it to be who are the children of plan participants already.
That was just my thought. Again, these are just my thoughts, and I would like to know where other
Well,
people. So again,
What we have is known as a VEBA, a Voluntary Employee Benefit Association. So just to make it available to students in general, I don't believe, and my lane on this is pretty narrow.
no, it was people who have insurance,
Yes.
who are part of the plan. And again, I think maybe an age cap, not maybe not a 10-year-old, but a 16 and above, or 25-year-old, because it's valid till they're 26, would have the option of getting a gym membership, and we would be encouraging that behavior. As a group, I feel like that's something I would think we would want to do, is to encourage healthy habits through exercise. But again, I don't know.
And what I might suggest, I don't know how often the trustees are meeting now, and I don't know when they meet again. Stacy might, but if you could put together some language that you think you would like to see the board consider, if they can endorse that, modify it, and then take it to refer it to the trustees, so that there's something tangible that the board has created, looked at, and approved. I think that would be the process probably that would make for the most cogent approach to the issue.
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely had heard feedback about that too. And, I looked at taking RCS insurance, but I have kids. So it's hard. But I think opening up and looking at it, it's cost X amount of dollars for that membership. Like, how can we make that work for you have children, right? Is it discounts for them? Is it you might not be like fully open, but I agree, because we know how hard it is as parents to we have just great membership, but we can't go do anything because their little kids at home,
Or it could even be that say that the primary people are not using their that membership, and so therefore there are 2 memberships that are available for 2 of the kids to use,
Right.
the dependents. So
I would think that the reason that it's in our policy is for the health, because when you are healthier, then you're gonna have less claims possibly. And so it would hold true for if dependents were
healthier.
right. It would promote that as well. So I'd be in favor of that as well.
Does this apply to all employees of RCS?
I think that would be a question.
Okay. The reason
Go ahead.
the reason I ask is I can understand the question in regards to the board, but I would also look on the outside to say, how would someone else outside of this table look at that if we were doing this and creating this opportunity only for 7 people as opposed to.
That's not what I
No.
Let's clarify that.
That's why I asked.
Thank you.
That's why
Yes.
I asked.
No,
the
it would
question.
be all.
No one out here who
Right.
doesn't understand.
Right. Sorry, and I thought you were saying like all RCS insurance
Plan
participants.
Plan
Right.
participants,
Plan
Yes.
participants.
Yes.
So that's what.
Somebody who's listening to this and may be picking up on the very end of it may be thinking that, they're just trying to niche out something specifically for 7 members. Now, I wanted to clarify that. That's why I asked that question, okay?
But it is a good question to have, because it can lead to other questions of partnerships and with facilities around what that looks like. And maybe sharing what other people do and use that benefit for.
Right.
Because I think, I've heard some creative things that I would.
Well, you're in HR, you probably do really creative things. Like you're doing what?
So as Attorney Cross referenced, you all put together what it is that you all would see, or like to see. You want that to carry that to the executive insurance.
Because there would be a cost attached, and it would be, I think it's the trust. I have no idea, but there may be something you'd rather, I don't know. It's just very sensitive to add benefits for, how many people is that going to serve? What's it going to cost? What's that going to do to everyone's rate? What's that going to, there's just lots of questions that we're not really set up to answer. And so that committee would have to take the proposal, I guess, or the request from the board and then figure out what that costs. And then they would have to determine if they wanted to go forward with that or not. I don't think it would be binding at all. But I think it's fair to move forward. I would just be cautious.
I think if we provide options for our teachers, administrators, I would explore with you raise Nicole and Christian on that too. I think being healthy as a board member, but also teachers and community that we're aspiring, we've got athletes and musicians. We always talk about this, but having the knowledge of understanding, hey, we have options. I think if our executive insurance committee would provide us or could us provide maybe 3 options, keep it simple, but provide us that option, I think that would be good benefit us.
I mean, I guess that's back if it's never simple. I mean, there's, it's virtual versus in person versus personal trainer versus, I mean, what,
Well, I think if we provide that,
what are
it
the
would,
constraints?
yeah, they could scope it.
Any other?
I have one more.
Okay.
So, just at the beginning of a new year, I always find it helpful to reflect on the past year. And reflecting over this particular past year, I was reminded of a social media post that I made this summer that people in the community, there were several people in the community, found to be insensitive. It was not my intent to offend anyone. And I did apologize individually to those that I knew had taken offense. But a friend of mine recently pointed out that she felt that should have been addressed publicly, and that I should have apologized publicly. So I wanted to take a minute and do that. And I wanted to take this time and say that I am sorry for being insensitive. I'm truly and deeply sorry for any hurt that was caused, and I hope that those who were offended can forgive me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else from the board? So I believe Dr. Wright, you have a bell here.
Yes, ma'am. President Pickering, trustee, I'm going to ask that Mrs. Bridget Hazelbaker, our Director of Student Support Services and Communication, rejoin us for this evening's bell ring.
I really don't think start at 6:30.
You're okay. Yeah, it's a new year.
I know, I apologize. I just wanted to take a moment to thank the Richmond High School Alumni Association. On the 21st, they had alumni night there at Cannon Center and celebrated our doublettes and our cheerleaders and Mr. Ingram and Coach Griff and everyone. So they had a great time, a great turnout. The board is also still looking at applications for scholarships right now for Richmond High School. Any Richmond High School graduate, you already had your degree, but anyone who's a Richmond High School graduate who wants to go to college in Wayne County, the Richmond High School Alumni Association helps cover the tuition cost for 8 semesters. So I just wanted to give a bell ringer to the Richmond High School Alumni Association for a successful event they had on December 21st. Yeah, I'll just piggyback on that. It was great to have it again. It's just always good to see people and to welcome back. We did play wonderful.
We played, competed.
I was a little disappointed when you did not keep the microphone and sing the fight song.
Yes,
You got everybody started and passed the mic. I was like,
I thought about my 8th grade choir teacher.
Jack.
Pass it on to the crowd. But we did have President Pickering and other alumni. Oh, you do have a yes. They graciously went out and celebrated and cheered.
It was a little rough this year. Last year was much better.
Yeah, you all
Getting older.
Yes, it was great. It was great.
Okay, perfect. So our next school board meeting is Wednesday, January 22nd at 5:30, right here in this lovely boardroom. So we are adjourned.
I guess now we can acknowledge Sam's tie in honor of the Buckeyes that we're
Hey, there he is.